Okay, let's start off on this this study. It's going to be a really cool one, I think. I'm going to start off with our basic circle. Something like that. And next I like to get the head tilt, and I use my pencil sometimes and to find the head tilt. So like right between, like going through, using the pencil and making a line through both eyes, like right through the pupils is a good way, or through the eyebrows depending on their expression. In this case we can use the eyebrows because she's not lifting one eyebrow or the other. So it looks like her head might be tilted on this angle. Let's double check it. Okay, now next is the center of the face. Maybe about right there, and it's pretty much straight up and down. So you just draw a straight line. And now this is called the cross of the face, and Loomis describes it in his book, and it's a great way to find the tilt of the head. So right away we see that the head is tilted a little bit. Now next, let's do the thirds of the face. So starting off with the hairline, looks like it's about right here. Now this is really important to keep these lines parallel. So like the hairline, the bottom of the nose, bottom of the chin. So all these lines, just pull them straight out. Try to make them parallel. You can change it later on different, like if you're doing like a different drawing or something, you could make these more, you can make the portrait more expressive and feel more in a perspective kind of a thing if you converge these lines off the paper somewhere. But for this study I just want to get straight parallel lines, and I'm going to measure now the thirds. So I'm going to measure starting with the brow to the hairline. I'm going to find that with my pencil and then compare it to the middle from underneath the nose to the brow. So I'm going to compare those two areas together. And so if I go to the brow and then the hairline with my pencil and thumb, then compare that bottom of the nose to the brow, they're about equal. So we're about equal. And I know already, like just from the perspective that we're looking at, the bottom third is probably going to be longer than these two. So if I do the same thing where I take from bottom of the chin to bottom of the nose and compare it to the brow to the bottom of the nose. So I'm comparing the bottom third to the middle third. So bottom of the chin with my thumb, and then tip of the pencil right on the bottom of the nose, right where the nose meets the upper lip, and then compare that, and it looks like it comes about right there above the brow. So if I take like this measurement here and then come down here, that's pretty close. So again, let's keep these lines parallel on this study, and it's really going to help us. Let's see, next let's go ahead and think about the brow. So we're looking at the center line and to the outside of this brow. Let's go ahead and make a little mark that indicates the point of the eyebrow. And then on this side, it's going to be a little bit longer just because the distance here to here versus here to here, this is going to be a little bit longer because her head is wrapping around and she's turning that 3/4 pose. And so from this point where the brow is starting to turn, let's bring it in just a little bit. That's about where that side rhythm of the head is. You see that in the Loomis, where he cuts off the side of the sphere. So you're already starting to see the the head start to develop a little bit. So now let's come to this side of the head. So we know this is the edge of the eyebrow. So now let's do like an overall shape of that side of the head. Just very basic. Don't even try to like get really dark or anything like that. It's just to block it in for now. And now what I'm going to do is actually, let's come over here. Let's find the angle from the peak of that brow across the top of the ear. So the ear, so I'm guessing it's probably something like this. And the ear is probably over here. So we take that circle, cut it in half, and cut it in half again. And the ear is going to fall somewhere in this quadrant. So what I'm going to do is take an angle with my pencil when I look at the image in a second. I'm going to come across the peak of the eyebrow to the top of the ear and find that angle and see if I got close to that angle, and then make my adjustments if I need to. So it might be actually like that. So let's try that again. Whoops. I think I was way off. So we just erase those first marks. So it looks like the angle is something like that. And let me double check it. Okay, cool. So what I'm doing is I'm holding the pencil up in front of the image and finding the angle I like between those 2 points of the peak of the eyebrow and the top of the ear. And then I hold it steady, and then I bring it down to my page. And let's do the same thing for that point under the nose where it attaches to the lip. So right there in the middle. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to take an angle from bottom of the ear to that point. So bottom of the nose, bottom of the ear. Bring it down to the page. That's pretty close. So you can see how these two lines are kind of converging into this. That could be because the perspective a little bit, and it also could be because our ear is a little bit smaller than the distance from the brow to the bottom of the nose, or it could just be because of that wrapping around. If we were to draw this rhythm, or this would wrap around the head, that would actually kind of match up perfect, but I don't want to confuse you. For me, it's easier to just find the angles. It's very straightforward. I have the top of the ear, I have the bottom of the ear, and I'm just trying to find how it relates to the other features of the face in this extreme angle. So for me, taking an angle from top of the ear to the peak of the brow, and then from the middle bottom part of the nose to the bottom of the ear is a really good quick way to find that ear placement. So next, I'm going to guess the back of the ear is right here, and to check my guess to see if it's correct or close, I'm going to use the outside of this cheek over here, about right here. So I'm going to use this point, and I'm going to measure to this point on my image using my pencil and thumb. And then I'm going to compare it to the length of the face. So from that cheek on the far side to the back of the ear, and then compare that to the bottom of the chin. So I get pretty much the length of the pencil almost. So I gotta move the ear back just a little bit. So now I know the top of the ear, bottom of the ear, and the back side. So we're pretty good. So now I can just look at the angle of her jaw and sketch that in. And then come down to about, let's see, so we're looking up and under, so you can almost see like this rhythm here, where it's like curved and then comes up. So we have a very basic jaw shape like that. Let's come down here to the bottom of the chin, and then that you can see that very elegant rhythm from the side of the jaw, comes around, curves, and then makes another curve around the chin, indicating that we can see underneath that jawline. So now I'm going to go ahead and place in the neck about right here. And we know the ear is here, the back of the ear, so we can see the neck and hairline on the back is right about here. Make that nice curve of the back of the neck. And then looks like her shirt or blouse is about right there. Let's come rhythm over. We got her neck. I'm just gonna do a basic shape of that blouse. So now we got like this mannequin looking head, which is really, really good. We're doing well, one step at a time. So I'm gonna go ahead and place in the hair shape, looking about right here. Adding a little bit extra on the back. Her hair looks like it parts about right here. And it's all spiky. And her hairline being right here, you can see like there's like this little, almost like a wave kind of coming down over the hair, comes through. So I'm just looking for like these overall rhythms. And then this comes up and around the back. And then, so our ear, let's go ahead and draw in the ear. And let's do the hair shape. So we have this, kind of comes over. Keep it really light and kind of ghostly for now, and then we can change it if we need to later. All right, so now let's go back into the face, into the features, and let's look at the bridge of the nose, and let's get that angle. So I'm gonna actually start with the glabella shape. That's that wedge shape between the eyes. And then let's get our angle of the nose. And now I'm going to check it. And I need to bring it up a little bit more. So try to think of drawing the nose very blocky at first. So here's the side. The center of the nose would be about right here. And we get this V shape going on the tip. That's a very generic way to think of it, like this little V for the nose. And then let's come over here and get the side nostril. curves around. So we get this underside of the nose. I'm just adding in a little curve for that far side nostril right here. This is the tip of the nose, but you can see that far side nostril kind of peeking out. Let's do a little bump for the main cartilage of the nose, and up here just a little bit of a bump for the bony structure of the nasal bone right there. And let's go back up here into the eye, the eyebrow. There's a slight curve. You can just put that in. So it goes side to side. You can even use that Riley rhythm right here for the forehead and that underside of the eyebrow. Let's get the forehead shape. Her forehead's, in this perspective, it's more sloped than super round like that original circle. And then we come around that eyebrow shape right here and we make like this wedge. So you can actually bring this line all the way through. Looks like it comes to about the tip of the nose. And then pretty close. So I'm looking, the tip of the nose is a good reference point. So let me check the angle of the nose again. Okay, I'm gonna bring it up just a touch because I feel like it's too low still. Not by much, just a little bit. So we have this angle, this wedge shape coming from the tip of the brow all the way down to the nose, just for reference. And then you can see the cheek is really close to the tip of the nose. Not touching it, but it's just close. And we come over here and we get that full cheek. Come down, kind of round it out a little bit. And then as it comes down here, it wedges in, and then that chin rhythm picks up. So you can kind of see that fullness of her cheeks. And then that overlapping form with the chin right here. And let's see, so let's go back up to this brow. And that's the peak about, and then the side of the eyebrow comes down. You can do a rhythm across from side to side to make sure they match up. Now let's think about the plane change of the brow. So we have, let's make sure also I get that, those lines, original lines, parallel lines, all. So I'm trying not to forget about these, because as I come in and work this, I still am trying to get everything lined up on those parallel lines. So thinking about the plane change of the head, the eyeglass shape, the sunglass shape of the eyes, you come across like this. And that gives us a sort of a guide to coming in here and drawing that orbital structure of the eye. Because then we can make sure that we're staying on that same line, that same parallel line. So like the bottom of that circle is here and here. So you want everything to line up and be on the same, on that same line. Because otherwise the eyes get kind of wonky and they kind of will start to float away and it just won't be right on the money. Okay. So it looks like it's been almost 20 minutes. If you only got to this part, didn't do the mouth yet, don't worry about it. That's really good. I'm taking a lot of time trying to just go over this very step by step, and I'm hoping that I'm explaining it well. I think the most important part is finding the angles of the features and making sure they all line up on that same parallel line. It's really, really important. And let's go ahead and continue into the mouth. So let's do the mouth placement, which can be really confusing because, like, when I first started, I thought the mouth was a couple of things. It's like the placement of it, like, I always thought it was just like halfway between the chin and the nose, but it's actually not. It's closer to the nose than the chin. So like the corners of the mouth is what we're going to use as a reference. So looking at the corners of the mouth, they're like points. They're like little points. And you can go ahead and guess where they are on the face, and then make your adjustments. So just putting in those two corners, it already looks like, oh yeah, that's where the lips are going to be. So these are really good points. So you can do a couple of things. You can use plumb lines or these vertical lines and see where they line up with, like, let's say the outside of the nostril, or over here to the tip of the nose. You can see, you can use that as a reference to find where, in relationship to the nose, the corners of the mouth will fall. So if I did that, and I'm going to come up here and see if the corner matches the tip of the nose on that side of the lip. And I think it might actually be pretty close. It might be just on the inside a little bit. So if I came here, made a straight up and down line, I think actually I'm just going to leave it where I had it. And then the other one, let's see, it's kind of hard because we don't have the eye shape in yet. But in relationship to the side of the nostril, it looks like it's pretty close. So now what I'm going to do is check, I'm going to check the angle. So you can see our angle is here, right? So we want the corners of the mouth to fall on that line also. In her case, she's not smirking or anything like that, so they're going to be pretty straight. So following that same parallel line that the eyes, the brow, the bottom of the nose is on, it looks like I need to bring this corner down just a little bit. So I'm just going to draw that very lightly. So you see parallel, they're all lined up. And now let's sketch in the Philtrum, which comes to about right here. So like if we did the center line of the face, it comes down the middle of the nose, comes around the nose, around the ball of the nose, comes down here, and it's about right there. I think I had it over too much earlier, but right here. And then it's going to curve over that Philtrum, then down the lip, the upper lip, and then around the bottom lip. And then it's going to hit that shelf, come down again, and then hit the chin, and wrap around the chin, and then down into the neck. So that's the imaginary center line. I'm going to erase that because it'll get confusing, but that's just a concept that you want to think about when you're trying to line up the features. Let's see, so if I do that Philtrum here, and then the Cupid's bow for the upper lip, and it's really subtle, it's a subtle turn, and this side of the mouth, this side of the lips are going to be like this really, really round area, and this side is going to be much less round and stretched out. So it's kind of rounded and then comes into the corner, and it creates this little wedge shape right here. And this one is going to wrap around because we're wrapping around the head, and it's going to wedge inwards and then create that little wedge shape that we have over here. There's going to be one on this side also. Let's see, about right there. So now to sketch the bottom, or the bottom lip, so in her case it's really extreme. It's a stair-stepping motion, so we come across the bottom here, and then we're going to step up, like we're going up some stairs. I'm going to step it up, and then we're going to come across, and then we're going to step back down. And then you can see it's kind of shallow angle. It's pretty flat because of the perspective of the bottom of the lip here. Let's redo that a little bit better. So stair step up, stair step down, and there you go. So make sure the corners of the mouth are still lined up. Pretty good. All lined up. So periodically throughout the drawing, you might want to lay your pencil down like this and just make sure everything's lined up. Helps a lot. It has saved me a lot of times. So now let's do that wedge. See that wedge that we curved around that bottom lip, and then we're going into this shelf, this undercut of the bottom lip, and then that'll give us that chin rhythm, which now we have the mouth in, we can adjust our where our cheek is, because it's a little too far out. So this is all about guessing and then checking your work, and then comparative measurement and angles, and then adjusting as you go. And so as you add more information, you'll make your adjustments. So I'm looking at the corner of this mouth to the outside of the cheek, and it's right here versus I had it out. It's not very much, it's not off by a lot, just in comparison to like the size of the paper, but just that much will make a huge difference. So I'm going to move our cheek in a little bit, and then this comes down and turns the corner right here and makes that little wedge. I got a hard spot on the pencil. Let me try to dig that out. There we go. Let's see, come down here. Actually, I'm going to bring it down. I think I'm going to make her just a tad more full in that cheek right there. Just a personal preference. Just kind of want to. And her chin, you can see her chin is a little bit more pointy than I have it. So let's do this rhythm. So I need to make it another adjustment, it looks like. So come around, a little pointed, and then comes down. So these little minute, tiny little contour changes really add life. So I come around this corner, and it creates this little circle, and then I come in here. I leave that overlapping line, and then I come for the bottom portion of the chin and the neck, and kind of make it a little bit rounded and full. I'm probably getting a little too detailed on that, but anyway. So let's go back up to here, this rhythm here. So it's actually a shadow. So I'm gonna follow that shadow. I'm gonna make a really thick, soft line with the side of my pencil, instead of using that construction line I did earlier. I'm going to erase that and just make this nice little shadow shape, because that's going to help us build up the structure of this cheek next. So the Riley rhythm takes it from the corner of the mouth There's a couple ways. You can go this way from the ear to the eye socket, the bottom of the eye socket to the outside of the nostril, and wrap around to the corner of the mouth. That's okay, but I usually use this one where it comes from the corner of the mouth and to the top of the ear. I feel like that follows a lot of times the shadow shapes. And let me erase that other one. It's getting a little messy and confusing. So I like this rhythm because it'll usually follow the shadow shape. And if we come here to that mid-cheek furrow, she's young, so you don't really see it. So we're going to go really light with it. And that comes around. This is also the Riley. So the Riley. And in her case, you can see the shadow shape actually comes over here off that first Riley rhythm and connects to the mid-cheek furrow. And comes down. And then connects to that shadow shape on the chin there. So it's something like that. So you start to get this nice structure feeling of that plane change because of the light shadow shapes and stuff. And you see how it's like, this is so much like that can. Let's see, if I drew like I don't know, like a soda can. Let's see, let me draw it down here. So like, if you just had a cylinder kind of at her tilt, and we can see the bottom portion of that can, right? So that's what's happening right here, which is really cool. Everything's wrapping around the form and is allowing you to see underneath the jaw right here. So it kind of has that same shape, the same perspective. Excuse me. So let's go back. Let's see. So we got pretty much the overall head structure. And we can come in and place the eyes now. Let me try to clean some of this up, make it a little bit more crisp in certain areas. Okay. So let's go into the eyes. Oh, my computer just shut off. Let me hit my computer real quick. That tells me it's been over 30 minutes. I generally like to take a break after 20, but I think this is going pretty well, so let's just keep it up here. So let's go to the eyes. We have the eye socket, which is really good to have first before you go into like the placement of the eyes itself. And it's really important to keep, again, everything on those lines, including the corners of the eye. So you might have heard of coming here with your parallel line, or your line of the bridge of the nose, and then coming down to the nostril, and then you can find the inside corner of the eye that way. But for me, it doesn't really work that well. Sometimes, depending on the head tilt and everything, it might work, but in this case, it's too far away. Because if we did that, the corner of our eye would be right there, and that's really far. Because if I hold a vertical line with my pencil right at the corner of the mouth and look at the eye, it lines up pretty close to the. So I get the inside corner of the eye on this side of the pencil, not on this side. So in this case, it doesn't work for us. So let's do an angle with our pencil and try to find how it relates to the nostril. So if I take an angle with my pencil, looking at the image, and and coming down, I get an angle that looks more like this. And then, I said before, it's just on the inside, so that looks good. So that's the inside corner of the eye. And let's draw that parallel line to make sure the other eye lines up perfectly, so we don't have wonky eyeballs. Let's see, so we're coming over this side for the outside corner. And now I'm going to judge. I'll probably bring this eye down just a little bit, because if I look at the top eyelid, we have the eyebrow here, then there's like this little bit of a space, and then the top of the eyelid is here. So I need the corner of the eye to be a little bit lower, so about right there. So let's take the top of the eyelid and make a line straight across, again to help us line everything up. And then we know the corner of the eye is here, so we make our little curve. And let's do that. Let me clean this up because I did too many lines there. So again, we got the corner of the eye, and now let's draw another parallel angle, keeping everything lined up. And this corner of the eye is tucked behind the bridge. If I could see it, it would be right there. So we got one here and one there. So if we do this rhythm that comes through from eye to eye, then this comes over. So going from side to side kind of helps get things lined up really well. And then of course we can erase that because it's behind the nose, so I don't really need that now. But generally I don't draw that. I just wanted to show kind of like what I'm thinking when I'm doing the corners of the eyes. Let's see, so we can draw the shape of the upper eyelid on this side, and then over here you can see inside the eyelid, and then it curves over. And then the bottom eyelid shape comes here, then it turns around. And then we come over here and follow that same line, comes down and around. And now there's this nice little wedge shape here, this little bottom of the eyelid, kind of shelf. And now we can place in our iris. And on this side as well. Let me clean this up a little bit. It's getting kind of messy. I'm going to bring the eyebrows up just a touch. Let's see. I got to stay on that line, remember? There we go. So the corners, and then there's this rhythm for that socket, and then it kind of connects to the bony structure of the nose. And our shadow from the eyelashes, about right there, and then this shadow shape over here. And then of course, shadow here connects, and then the side, that curve, that side rhythm of the head that we did earlier. So you see, it's so important to get everything lined up on these parallel lines for the features of the face. So everything's like solid and locked in. It's not floating around. It really helps a lot to think of it like that. And try dragging the lines out gently and softly to the sides to help remind you. It actually helped me quite a bit on this one to do that as well. I mean, drawing is really hard, so it's like it's a really hard endeavor to learn, and just be patient with it. It's kind of funny, I was thinking about it yesterday when I was at work and I was listening to some audiobook on the technocracy and the fourth industrial revolution and stuff like that, and Klaus Schwab, I think it's his book, and I just started it, but I was thinking with all this technology and stuff that's coming out, and you know, the physical technology and then the AI and all the gene stuff they're doing, and it's just amazing. But drawing is still charcoal and paper and just grinding charcoal into paper and making something beautiful. And it's just like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It just, with all that technology that's coming out and we have right now, it's still amazing. Drawing is still drawing, and it's still freaking awesome. It's like, I don't think there's ever going to be like an app or a game that's going to be more interesting to me than drawing. Anyway, I don't know. So yeah, so that's basically it. Let me do the ear real quick since we're here. And so this is the helix of the ear, this top portion, and that curves in. And then she has really cool ears. It almost looks like an elf. In fact, that's the art school I went to, they like to use her for references for like pixies and stuff like that. Let's see. So then we have the anti-helix comes in, wraps around the the tragus right here. I don't know, you can do earrings or something. Let me put her, she's got a big highlight. Let's just put that in for fun. Just kind of clean up that little shelf. Another thing about the eyes is when the head is turned like that, and you know how like on this eye you have 2 points and it kind of looks like this, right? Very generic. But this eye is not going to look like that at all. It's going to look like this. It's going to look like a little, it's going to be round here and pointed here, there. So you might want to think about that as well. That as the head turns around, you'll start to see the eyeball, and then it's almost like a little pizza shape versus this almond shape. So that was really helpful to me to start to think about years ago. Should I place the nostrils? Okay. So I hope I explained that. The main point I wanted to get through on this one was getting all these features lined up on that same line, and also how I found those angles by holding my pencil up in front of the image and finding it and then bringing it down to my paper. So let me know if you have any questions. You can either leave a message on the Patreon or on the post or in the forum or email. I check all those when I wake up in the morning. It's funny, as soon as I wake up, I get my coffee and I walk over to the computer, and it's like I'm just excited to see what you guys are up to. So I check all those sources for comments and stuff, and I'm having a lot of fun, guys, and I'm looking forward to making more of these. Mohammed is new, and he just asked if I could do like a male figure, so I'll be doing something on that soon. I just found some good references this morning as well for him and you guys. So if you have any requests, just hit me up and I'll see what I can do. And I hope I explained this well enough. I'm coming in here now with the shadows pretty much on this. So yeah, I'll do a video soon on shadows and kind of like the anatomy of shadows and how to shade. But yeah, try this one. I know I went really long on this demo. Maybe watch it in a couple of parts or something, I don't know. But yeah, just take your time with it and let me know how it goes. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye. Okay, so I just went on a break after I shot that last bit, and there's a couple things I want to change. Basically just this. There's a lot I want to change, but which is always the case. But I want to bring that forehead down more, and more of a slope, and then kind of make this angle, this brow a little bit softer, and then also I shouldn't be seeing so much of the top of the head because of that the angle we're looking up at her. So let's start with that hairline and that forehead, and also I guess I can really accentuate that curve around the forehead a little bit more. So if I look where the peak, not the peak, but where the hairline ends and the forehead begins on the side, that point, and then I use my pencil to find a vertical line, a plumb line, and see where that lies in a relationship to, let's say, the nose. And it looks like if I come straight up, it'd be about right there. So I had it really far off. So that's why I was like not liking it when I came back from grabbing some breakfast. So let's change that. And then bring this down. And let's check that with the chin. Okay, so now I can really see that I need to bring this hair shape much lower. So it's actually quite a bit off. And that kind of was messing with the feel of it, the perspective of the head for me. Yeah, there you go. So now it's much more, it looks more like we're looking up. It was having so much on the back of the, on top of the head, seeing so much of the hair and the top of her head was kind of throwing things off. so much better. So let that be a lesson to you. Just take a break after 20 minutes and come back and you'll have fresher eyes and you'll see better, as opposed to like trying to power through it. I know better, but I still try to power through too much. Okay. So there's other little things probably that I'll always see, always look for later. It's funny how like if you give a drawing a couple of days, like the next morning, it's always like when you wake up and you see the drawing you did the day before, it's always heartbreaking. And then and if you let the drawing sit for like a month and you come back, sometimes you don't see anything wrong with it. It kind of cools off. But anyway, so yeah, so the concept here was, because we're looking up at her, we're not going to see so much of the top of the head as we would if we're looking straight at her or her head's tilted down. And I just needed to clean that up. And let's bring this a little bit less again. A little too heavy on the brow for her. It's funny because I just edited the video, so now I'm just going to attach this to it and then do the final edit and then post this tomorrow. So yeah, try drawing along if you can, if you have time, and let me know how it goes. Let me know in the excuse me, on the forum or just wherever. Email. If you want a private critique, send the email. If you don't mind other people reading the critique, then catch me on the forum. And all right, happy drawing, guys. Bye. I almost forgot the ear. I saw that earlier and I just forgot. Just a tad too long. Okay, I swear to God, I'm stepping away now. I promise. No more. 3, 2, 1. All right.